I always tell people my name doesn't matter, but Emily's does. Emily was the woman I believed was my future, the one I planned my life around without even realizing I was doing it. When I think back to the beginning, I remember how safe love felt, how certain I was that this was it. "You're overthinking again," Emily said one morning, smiling at me across our tiny kitchen table. "I just like planning," I replied. "Someone has to think about the future." She laughed. "We have time. It's us." That word, us, wrapped around my chest every time she said it. I worked longer hours because of that word. I skipped nights out, saved money, reshaped my dreams quietly so they fit beside hers. "What are you doing tonight?" she asked, slipping her phone into her bag. "I'll stop by the bank first," I said. "Then groceries. You said you wanted to cook." "You didn't have to," she said softly. "I want to," I answered, meaning more than food. Our life wasn't flashy, but it was full. Small routines felt like promises. Coffee cups left in the sink. Shoes by the door. Her head on my shoulder while we watched shows we barely paid attention to. "Do you ever think about later?" I asked her one night. Emily paused the TV. "Later like what?" "Like us. Where we'll be." She leaned into me. "I know we'll be okay." That was enough for me. It always was. Meeting her mother felt like a step toward something permanent. Mrs. Walker looked at me the way people look at items they're unsure about buying. "So, what exactly do you do?" she asked, her voice polite but sharp. "I work in finance," I said. "I'm trying to build something stable." She nodded slowly. "Trying." Emily squeezed my hand under the table. "He works really hard, Mom?" "I'm sure," Mrs. Walker said, her smile thin. "Ambition is important." I laughed lightly, pretending I didn't hear the doubt. I wanted her approval more than I wanted to admit. Later, Emily whispered, "She just worries." "I get it," I said. "I'd worry too." That was my excuse for everything. Her silences. Her mother's tone. The moments that felt off but not loud enough to scare me away. One evening as I paid for dinner, Emily touched my arm. "You don't always have to do this." "I know," I said. "I want to take care of us." She didn't argue. She never did. Sometimes I caught Mrs. Walker watching me when she thought I wasn't looking. Measuring. Judging. I told myself love required patience. "You're good for her," Emily said once, almost like reassurance. "I plan to be," I replied. Inside, I hoped that effort could replace whatever I lacked. That night, lying beside her, I stared at the ceiling and listened to her breathing. I felt hopeful, but something tight lived under that hope, a quiet unease I refused to name. I closed my eyes anyway, believing love would be enough. The next morning, Emily asked, "Did you sleep?" "Not really," I said. My mind kept racing. "About what?" she asked. "About being enough," I admitted. "For you. For everyone." She brushed my hair back. "You already are." When I visited Mrs. Walker again, she said, "Emily deserves security." "I'm giving everything I have," I replied. She studied me. "Sometimes everything isn't enough." I smiled even though it stung. "I'll make it be." Driving home, I told myself doubt was normal. Love wasn't supposed to be easy. That evening, Emily said, "We're okay, right?" I took her hands. "We are. I promise." She nodded, trusting me completely. I held on to that trust like a lifeline, choosing hope over fear, even as the unease followed me quietly into the dark. I told Emily, "No matter what happens, I'm here." She smiled. "That's all I need." I believed her, even as questions stacked in my head. Was love measured by effort or by acceptance? I didn't know yet. I only knew I was all in, ignoring the warning in my chest, walking forward because turning back felt worse. At that moment, hope felt stronger than fear. I chose to believe in us, in the future I pictured so clearly. Something was wrong, I convinced myself love would fix it. I went to sleep holding that belief, unaware of how fragile it really was. Those quiet doubts waited patiently, hidden beneath my certainty, ready to surface later on. I still remember the silence before Mrs. Walker spoke. It wasn't peaceful. It felt sharp, like the air itself was waiting to cut me. We were sitting in her living room, tea untouched, Emily beside me, her hands folded in her lap. "I think we should be honest," Mrs. Walker said. I nodded. "Of course." She looked straight at me. "You're not good enough for my daughter." Emily didn't move. "I don't mean to be cruel," Mrs. Walker continued. "But love isn't everything." I swallowed. "I'm listening." "You don't earn enough," she said. "You don't have the right background. And frankly, you don't push yourself hard enough." I felt my chest tighten. "I work full-time." I support Emily. I'm building. She tilted her head. Building what, exactly? Emily stared at the floor. I turned to her. Emily? She said nothing. That silence, Mrs. Walker said, should tell you something. I forced a small smile. I care about her. That has to count. It doesn't, she replied. Not in the real world. The door opened and Daniel walked in, casual, confident, like he belonged there. Hey, he said. Sorry I'm late. Perfect timing, Mrs. Walker said. We were just talking. Daniel looked at me, then at Emily. About what? About whether this relationship makes sense, she answered. Daniel nodded slowly. I mean, Mrs. Walker has a point. Emily finally looked up. Daniel? I'm just saying, he continued, you've always deserved more. I felt heat rush to my face. More than what? Daniel shrugged. More than settling. That word hit harder than the rest. I'm right here, I said quietly. And that's the problem, Mrs. Walker replied. You're just here. I wanted to defend myself, to list every sacrifice. Every night I stayed up planning a future for Emily, but my throat closed. Emily still hadn't spoken. Do you agree? I asked her. She hesitated. I don't want conflict. That hurt more than any insult. I'm not asking for a fight, I said. I'm asking if you believe them. She looked at her mother. Then at Daniel. Then back at me. I don't know. Mrs. Walker stood. There it is. I stood too, legs shaking. I've given everything I have. And that's exactly the issue, she said. Everything you have isn't enough. Daniel crossed his arms. You should think about what's best for Emily. I laughed softly, bitterly. I do. Every day. Emily finally spoke. Can we just calm down? No, Mrs. Walker said. This needs to be said. I felt small, like I was being measured and found lacking. I love her, I said. Mrs. Walker's voice was cold. Love doesn't pay bills. Love doesn't raise status. Love doesn't protect her future. I looked at Emily one last time. Say something. She whispered, I'm sorry. That was it. I grabbed my jacket. I didn't come here to be judged. Mrs. Walker replied, you came here to be evaluated. Daniel added, and evaluations have outcomes. I walked to the door, hands shaking, heart pounding. Take care, Mrs. Walker said. Emily didn't follow me. Outside the air felt heavy. My reflection in the car window looked unfamiliar. I sat inside without starting the engine, replaying every word. Not enough. I had always believed effort could make up for everything. Sitting there, I questioned that belief for the first time. This wasn't just criticism. It wasn't just opinion. It was a warning. And deep down, I knew ignoring it would cost me more than my pride. The first thing I noticed was the pause. Emily didn't disappear all at once. She faded. Her messages stopped sounding like her. Busy day, she texted. Everything okay? I replied. Yeah. That was it. No heart. No follow-up. I stared at my phone longer than I should have. Call me when you're free, I typed. She didn't. That night I called her myself. It rang until voicemail. I told myself she was tired. I told myself I was overthinking. I had become good at that. The next morning I tried again. Did I do something wrong? No, she replied. I just need to think. About what? I asked. About everything. Her answers felt careful, like she was choosing words that wouldn't wake something dangerous between us. When we finally met, she sat across from me but felt miles away. You've been quiet, I said. So have you, she replied. I didn't want to push. She nodded. I appreciate that. The silence stretched. I filled it. Your mom hates me. She doesn't hate you, Emily said quickly. She's just concerned. And Daniel? I asked. She sighed. He's always been protective. Of you or of what they think you deserve? I asked. She didn't answer. That hurt in a new way. At work I couldn't focus. Sarah noticed before I said anything. You look like you haven't slept, she said, handing me coffee. I'm fine, I replied automatically. She raised an eyebrow. That's a lie. I laughed weakly. I'm just dealing with relationship stuff. She leaned against the desk. Want to talk about it? I hesitated, then nodded. Her family thinks I'm not enough. Sarah frowned. And you believe them? I don't want to, I said. But it's getting hard not to. She didn't push. She just listened. That alone felt like relief. Later that night, I replayed Mrs. Walker's words again. Not good enough. Not ambitious enough. not from the right background. They echoed louder when Emily stayed quiet. I called Emily again. Can we talk? She answered this time. I don't know what to say. Say anything, I said. Please. She was quiet, then whispered, I feel stuck. Between me and them, I said. Yes. I never wanted to put you there, I said. I just wanted us. I know, she replied. That's what makes this so hard. Do you still love me? I asked. She didn't answer right away. That pause felt heavier than any argument. I care about you, she finally said. I closed my eyes. That's not the same. I'm trying, she said. I really am. So am I replied. Every day. We met once more after that. She checked her phone often like she was already elsewhere. I reached for her hand. She let me but didn't squeeze back. I feel like I'm losing you, I said. She looked away. I don't want to hurt you. That's already happening, I replied gently. At work, Sarah asked, any better? I shook my head. She's slipping. Then hold on to yourself, Sarah said. Don't disappear with her. That stuck with me. That night Emily called. Her voice sounded tired. I think I need some space. My heart dropped. Space for what? To figure things out. And what happens to us? I asked. I don't know, she said softly. I swallowed. How much space? I don't know, she repeated. I wanted to argue. I wanted to beg. Instead I said, okay. Thank you for understanding, she whispered. After we hung up, the room felt too quiet. Space. That word echoed the way warning had before. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, realizing this wasn't a pause. It was a slow goodbye, stretched out so it wouldn't look like abandonment. And for the first time, I wondered if love, no matter how real, could survive silence. Emily asked me to meet her at the park where we used to sit and plan everything. When I arrived, she was already there, hands folded, eyes tired. Hey, I said. Hi, she replied softly. I sat beside her. The space between us felt intentional. I've been thinking a lot, she said. I know, I replied. I felt it. She looked down. This isn't easy for me. It's not easy for me either, I said. But I'm here. She nodded. That's the problem. I waited. My mom will never accept you, Emily said. No matter what you do. I took a slow breath. And what do you want? She hesitated. I want peace. With or without me? I asked. Tears filled her eyes. I'm scared all the time. Of what? I asked. Of disappointing her, she said. Of choosing wrong. I clenched my hands. So choosing me is wrong? She shook her head quickly. No. It just feels impossible. That's not the same thing, I said. I know, she whispered. Silence settled between us. My chest felt tight like something was pressing inward. So this is it, I said. She swallowed. I think it has to be. I wanted to scream. Instead I asked, is this what you want? She didn't answer right away. I don't know what I want anymore. That hurts, I said honestly. I'm sorry, she replied. I never meant to hurt you. I know, I said. But you are. She reached for my hand, then stopped herself. If I stay, I'll resent everyone. And if you leave? I asked. I'll miss you, she said. Every day. I nodded. My mind was screaming, but my mouth stayed calm. Then say it clearly. She closed her eyes. I can't do this anymore. I stood slowly. Okay. That's it, she asked. I won't beg, I said. I love you too much for that. Her lips trembled. I wish things were different. So do I replied. I walked away before she could say anything else. Each step felt heavier than the last. I didn't cry until I reached my car. Even then it was quiet. Controlled. Like everything else I'd done for her. That night I went to Mark's place. He opened the door and knew immediately. You look wrecked, he said. She ended it, I replied. He pulled me into a hug. I'm sorry. She said her mom would never accept me, I said. Mark stepped back. And she chose that? She chose fear, I said. And I let her. He shook his head. Don't do that. I stayed too long, I said. I kept hoping. That's not a crime, he said. Losing yourself is. I sat on his couch. I don't know who I am without her. You'll remember, Mark said. Just don't chase someone who didn't fight for you. I loved her, I said. I know, he replied. But love isn't supposed to erase you. Later, alone in my apartment, I sat in the dark. No texts. No calls. Just silence. I thought about every warning I ignored. Every moment I shrank to fit. Love didn't fail me. People did. And for the first time, I admitted the truth. I had betrayed myself by staying. Now, all that was left was to face the quiet and rebuild whatever remained. The days stopped blurring when I gave them structure. Wake up. Or, gym. Sleep. I didn't call it healing. I called it survival. Sarah noticed first. You're different, she said one morning. Different how? I asked. You don't look like you're waiting anymore, she replied. I stopped, I said. Waiting almost broke me. She nodded. Good. At work, I stayed late without distraction. No checking my phone. No hoping for messages that wouldn't come. Just focus. Mark called one night. How are you holding up? I'm standing, I said. That's progress. He laughed softly. Proud of you. I don't feel strong, I admitted. You don't have to, he said. You just have to keep moving. I did. I signed up for certifications I'd put off. Took courses after long days. My brain felt alive again. Sarah caught me studying during lunch. Leveling up? I have to, I said. I don't want to feel small ever again. She smiled. That's the right reason. At home, I deleted old photos one by one. Not in anger. With acceptance. This mattered, I whispered. But it's done. I found unsent messages in my drafts. Words I never said. I read them once, then erased them. No more conversations in my head, I said aloud. Mark came over one weekend. You look healthier. I'm tired, I said. But it's honest tired. That's the best kind, he replied. We sat quietly. No advice. No fixing. Just presence. One night, Sarah asked, Do you hate her? I shook my head. I don't have the energy. That's growth, she said. I don't want revenge, I admitted. I want peace. And, she asked. I'm building it, I said. Weeks passed. My routine became my anchor. Each completed task reminded me I could rely on myself. I upgraded my wardrobe slowly. Not to impress anyone. Just to match how I felt inside. Mark noticed. New jacket. New mindset, I replied. He nodded. That's dangerous in the best way. I cleaned my apartment. Threw away reminders I'd been afraid to touch. This version of me deserves space, I said. Late one evening, I found an old letter I'd written to Emily. I read the first line, then stopped. That guy loved deeply, I said. But he forgot himself. I folded the paper and threw it away without ceremony. Sarah texted later. Want coffee? Sure, I replied. She looked at me carefully. You're smiling again. I earned it, I said. You did, she agreed. I stopped measuring my worth through silence. I stopped replaying conversations that couldn't be changed. I'm not broken, I told myself. I was bent. Mark called again. What's next? I keep going, I said. That's it. He smiled through the phone. That's everything. One morning I caught my reflection and didn't look away. Hey, I said quietly. You made it. The pain didn't disappear. It transformed. It became discipline. Focus. Hunger. I wasn't rebuilding to prove anything. I was rebuilding because I finally understood something simple. Becoming better wasn't about her. It was about me choosing myself one day at a time. I was halfway through answering emails when my phone buzzed with a name I hadn't seen in months. Emily. I stared at the screen until it stopped ringing. Then it rang again. Hello, I said. Her voice sounded smaller. Hey, I didn't know if you'd answer. I almost didn't, I replied honestly. I understand, she said. I just needed to hear your voice. I leaned back in my chair. What's going on, Emily? She exhaled slowly. Everything's falling apart. I didn't react. That surprised me. Daniel's gone, she said. He moved away. We stopped talking weeks ago. I see, I replied. And my mom, she continued, she controls everything. My schedule. My choices. Even who I talk to. I stayed quiet. I thought choosing family would bring peace, she said. It didn't. I closed my eyes briefly. What do you want from me right now? I don't know, she admitted. Maybe understanding. I gave that for a long time, I said calmly. There was a pause. You sound different. I am, I replied. She laughed softly without humor. You always said I'd regret it. I never wanted to be right, I said. Her voice cracked. I'm tired. I can hear that, I said. She hesitated. Do you hate me? I thought about it. No. That hurts more, she whispered. Why? I asked. Because you don't care enough to be angry, she said. I care, I replied. Just not the same way. Another silence settled, but this one didn't suffocate me. I ran into Lisa, she said suddenly. My cousin Lisa? I asked. Yes, she replied. She told me she saw you. She checked on me once, I said. She told me you seem grounded, Emily said. Lisa had called me weeks earlier. I just wanted to say, Lisa had told me, this family can break people. I believe that now, I said to Emily. My mom says you were holding me back, Emily said quietly. And do you believe her? I asked. I don't know what I believe anymore, she replied. I leaned forward. That uncertainty used to be my burden. I know, she said. I'm sorry. I nodded even though she couldn't see it. I accept that. She sounded surprised. You do? Yes, I said. But acceptance doesn't mean return. Her breathing changed. So this is really over. It's been over, I replied gently. We're just catching up. She swallowed. I thought karma was real. I just didn't think it would feel like this. Karma isn't loud, I said. It's quiet. Like consequences. She laughed weakly. You sound wiser than before. I had to become that way, I said. Lisa texted me while I was still on the call. She's struggling. Don't let guilt pull you back. I didn't reply. Do you ever think about me? Emily asked. I think about who I was, I said. Not who you are now. That's fair, she replied. I'm not here to punish you, I added. I'm just not available anymore. I wish I had fought harder, she said. I did enough fighting for both of us, I replied. She was quiet for a long time. I hope you're happy. I'm becoming peaceful, I said. There's a difference. She sniffed. I don't know how to fix my life. You don't need me to do that, I said. You need you. I lost you, she whispered. Yes, I said. But you didn't lose yourself yet. She thanked me for answering. I told her to take care. When the call ended, I sat still. I didn't feel proud. I didn't feel satisfied. I felt distant. Mark texted later. Everything okay? Yeah, I replied. Karma just knocked. He sent back one word. Good. I looked at my phone one last time, then set it down. I hadn't lifted a finger. Life had done the talking for me. I waited at the cafe where we had met countless times before. Emily arrived 15 minutes late, her hair pulled back, face pale, eyes hesitant. She looked smaller somehow, fragile in a way that hurt to see. Hi, I said softly. Hi, she replied, voice trembling. I gestured to the seat across from me. Sit. She hesitated, then lowered herself into the chair. Silence filled the space. Not awkward but heavy. I wanted to see you, she said finally. I know, I said. I wanted this too for clarity. Her hands folded tightly on the table. I've made mistakes, she admitted. So many. I know, I said quietly. And I've carried mine. She swallowed. I pushed you away. I let my family's fears decide my choices. I wasn't fair to you, or to myself. I see that now, I said. And I've been honest with myself too. I stayed too long in a version of me that needed your approval. Her lips trembled. I'm sorry. I accept that, I said. But apologies can't rewrite time. I know, she whispered. Tears brimmed in her eyes. I was scared. Scared of losing them, scared of everything. And I asked, did you ever consider what I needed? She shook her head. I didn't. I was blinded. I nodded slowly. We both did what we thought we had to. But I'm not that person anymore. Her gaze fell. You look stronger. I've grown, I admitted. Not to prove anything to you. Not for revenge. Just for myself. Emily's hand reached for mine, then faltered. I thought I lost you forever, she said. And I almost did. You didn't, I said calmly. Not really. Her shoulders slumped. I see now how much I hurt you. You did, I said. But I can carry it without carrying you anymore. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She wiped them quickly. I thought love was enough. Sometimes it isn't, I said gently. Sometimes love doesn't erase fear or control. She looked at me, eyes wide. Are you angry? Not angry, I said. Sad once, yes. Frustrated, yes. But anger, no. I've outgrown needing that from you. Her lips quivered. I never wanted to lose myself, but I lost you instead. And I found myself, I said. I'm standing here whole even with the scars. I'm not here to punish you. I'm here to close this chapter. Emily broke down completely then, silent sobs shaking her frame. I didn't move closer. I didn't wipe her tears. I simply watched, steady, calm, untouchable. I can't fix it, she whispered. I can't fix us. You don't need to, I said. And neither do I. She choked on a breath. I was selfish. I was scared. I wanted to be loved and protected, but I forgot what that meant for you. I understand, I said. But understanding isn't the same as returning. We're not the same people who fell in love. The cafe felt quiet around us, though it was busy. I realized I wasn't longing. I wasn't hoping. I wasn't blaming. I was simply present. You're free, I said softly. And so am I. Her hands dropped to the table. You don't need to explain, I interrupted gently. This isn't about guilt. It's about choice. And my choice is myself. She blinked, swallowed, nodded. I see that now. I stood, slowly, deliberately. I wish you well, Emily. Truly. Her voice broke as she whispered, I wish I could tell you the same. You've told me, I said. Honesty is enough. I walked away without looking back, the weight lifting with every step. I didn't glance at her tears. I didn't linger. The victory wasn't in her regret. It wasn't in any apology. It was in my clarity, my calm, my refusal to depend on anyone else for validation. I felt the scars still, but they were mine. Proof that I had survived, learned, and finally chosen myself. The past stayed behind me. I didn't run from it, but I didn't carry it. I walked forward, whole, free, unbroken, finally enough. My phone buzzed late one evening. The name on the screen made my chest tighten. Mrs. Walker. I stared at it for a long moment. Part of me wanted to ignore it. Another part, curiosity, maybe even satisfaction. I answered. Hello. I said. My voice was steady, but my heart raced. Hello, she replied, softer than I expected. It's me. I waited. I know this is unexpected, she continued. I wanted to talk. To me? I asked, raising an eyebrow. After everything? Yes, she admitted. I made mistakes. I stayed quiet. Let her explain. I judged you too quickly, she said. I thought I knew what was best for Emily. I pushed her and I see now it hurt her. And you. I felt the urge to say something sharp, to point out all the years I bent myself trying to meet her impossible standards. I didn't. I only said, go on. She swallowed audibly. She's struggling. I thought if I pressured her, she'd find happiness. Instead, I forced her away from someone who genuinely cared. Her words hung between us. Unexpected remorse. Are you calling to apologize? I asked carefully. Yes, she said. And to ask, would you consider talking to her again? The same woman who once told me I was not good enough, who crushed my heart indirectly through Emily, was now asking me to step back into the ring she ruined. I see, I said slowly. I don't expect forgiveness, she continued. I just wanted you to know I understand now. And maybe she deserves a chance to hear from you. If you want. The silence stretched. My fingers tightened around my phone. Part of me burned for revenge. Part of me wanted closure. Let me be clear, I said finally. I'm not here to make things easier for her. Or for you. I have my own life now. Yes, she whispered. I know. That's why I'm nervous. I don't want to intrude. You did intrude, I said. For years. Not just me but Emily too. And yet here you are. I'm sorry, she said again. I've realized too late, but I wanted you to know. I let out a slow breath. You wanted her to be happy, right? Yes, she admitted. I only ever wanted that. And now? I asked. Now? I'm afraid I pushed her into unhappiness, she said softly. And I see that you were the better choice all along. Her voice cracked. I don't want to lose her entirely. I said nothing. My mind raced, but my voice stayed calm. You should have thought of that before. You can't undo what's done. I know, she said. But maybe, if she heard you, it could help her. Help both of you. Maybe, I said. I didn't promise. I didn't beg. I didn't scold. I simply stated the truth. I understand if you won't, she said, voice trembling. I'm just hoping. Hope doesn't repair what's broken, I said. It only shows you care too late. Yes, she whispered. I know. We sat in silence over the line. She was fragile now, almost human in a way I hadn't seen before. And I realized something: power had shifted. She needed me. The woman who once judged me needed my patience, my restraint, my decision. "I'll think about it," I said finally. "But not for you. Not for Emily. For myself." "I understand," she said quietly. I ended the call without further argument. The room was silent. My chest was tight, not from anger but from the weight of having been in control without cruelty. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I simply sat, feeling the subtle thrill of standing firm. She had come seeking leverage, yet I had none to give. She needed me, but I didn't owe her compliance. Mark would have said I handled it perfectly. Sarah probably would have said the same. But in that moment, it wasn't about anyone else. It was about knowing my value, my boundaries, my strength. I didn't contact Emily that night. I didn't need to. That wasn't the point. The point was clarity. The point was power reclaimed quietly without cruelty. Mrs. Walker's regret was hers to bear. My responsibility was to myself. And I felt it, a small, controlled triumph that had nothing to do with revenge and everything to do with dignity. For the first time since all of this began, I wasn't reacting. I was standing still, letting the consequences play out naturally on my terms. I placed my phone on the table and leaned back. Quietly I acknowledged the shift. The scales had tilted. And I was finally free of the weight I had carried for so long. No anger. No bitterness. Just calm dominance. And it felt good. I sat on my balcony one evening, the city lights flickering like distant memories. I thought about how far I'd come, from the man who once bent himself for love, to someone who finally stood straight. Mark called earlier. "You sound different," he said. "I feel different," I admitted. "Calmer. Stronger." "You earned it," he said. I reflected on Emily. She was learning the hard way. Family pressure didn't make her happy. Daniel was gone, distant. Her mother's control had only suffocated her further. She would grow eventually, but it was too late for what we had. Sarah texted me a photo of her new project. "Look at this," she said. "You'd be proud." "I am," I replied. I realized pride now came from effort, not validation from others. Mrs. Walker had called once more, a quiet apology, almost desperate. I listened calmly, thanked her for her honesty, and ended the call without emotion. Her power over me had vanished. I replayed the years in my head. The love I had poured, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices. I remembered the hurt, the silences, the goodbyes. Every scar was mine, but now they were proof of survival, not weakness. At work, Sarah noticed my shift in demeanor. "You're lighter," she said. "I guess I finally stopped carrying ghosts," I replied. I walked past the old cafe where Emily and I had met so many times. I didn't look in. I didn't hope. I only felt gratitude for the lessons, the hard ones. Mark met me for dinner one night. "You've changed," he said, sipping his wine. "I had to," I said. "Not to impress anyone. Not to be loved. Just to be whole." "And you are," he said. I realized I no longer needed approval, from her family, from anyone. The person I had been, the one who needed their validation, was gone. Emily's mistakes, her mother's control, Daniel's absence. None of it mattered to me anymore. Not because I didn't care, but because I had learned the true measure of worth, self-respect. I thought about writing her one last time, but I didn't. Words wouldn't change her path, and I didn't want them to drag me back. Silence became my strength. One night, I sat quietly in my apartment, sipping tea. The letters I'd written and never sent were gone. The photos deleted. The reminders all erased. I had nothing left to hold on to except myself. "I'm enough," I whispered. I thought of Mrs. Walker, still controlling her world, still fearing loss. Emily still learning the hard way. Daniel living elsewhere. Life moved for them, but it no longer dictated my steps. I had something they couldn't touch: peace, strength, self-worth. Mark called again. "Feeling good?" "I am," I said. "For the first time, really." He laughed. "About time." I let the city's quiet wash over me. The streets below bustled, people rushing, lives moving. I had been in their rush, desperate for validation, chasing love that wasn't meant to hold me. Now I watched it pass with calm eyes. I realized the truth. Sometimes the best revenge isn't anger, isn't confrontation, isn't proving anyone wrong. It's becoming someone they can no longer reach. I smiled softly. Not because I was happy with what happened, but because I had survived, learned, and finally chosen myself. And in that choice I found freedom. I leaned back, letting the cool night air fill my lungs, and for the first time in years, I felt whole, untouchable and truly free.